Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to be looking at Matthew 28, verses 11 through 15. This is the report of the guards who were at Jesus' tomb. Now, in the last video, I talked about that discovery of the empty tomb that first Easter morning. I talked about the women coming to the tomb, seeing the angel who said he wasn't there, all of that wonderful stuff. Well, in that moment, there were also the guards who were there at the tomb. Well, why would you put guards at a tomb unless you thought something was going to happen there? Well, in fact, something did happen at the tomb, right? When the angel shows up and tells the news that Jesus isn't there, that he's risen, the women rush back to tell the other disciples. Well, then the guards, they then tell what happened to their boss, and they don't want to be telling this story. So then what happens? They then get paid to tell the story that Jesus' disciples came and stole the body while they had fallen asleep on the job. That's why the tomb was open and empty. There's a couple things to notice in this scene. First, this is a very early example of somebody getting paid to tell fake news. Now, we have heard plenty in our own day about fake news and reporters who aren't telling the truth and this sort of thing. Here we have these Roman soldiers who are getting paid to say that Jesus' disciples came and stole the body. But the funny thing is, these soldiers know exactly what happened. And they know that the story they're being paid to tell is not the truth. They just don't want to admit it. It's also interesting to see that these guards tell one story and the women tell another story. Yet the story the guards tell is actually more logically believable. Think about it. If you today would come across a tomb that's empty, your first thought is probably that somebody from the outside got into the tomb and stole the body and whatever else was in there, not that somebody from inside the tomb came out. The story that the guards tell is logically more believable than what the women say. But the funny thing is, it's not true. The story the women tell is the correct version. When we talk about the life of faith, when we talk about how we follow Jesus and these stories about Jesus' lives, if you just look at it on the surface, it looks really silly and foolish and unbelievable. Why in the world would we say that a guy who died on the cross 2,000 some years ago still matters in our world today? Why would we believe these women who say that the tomb is empty and that Jesus is alive and that they saw this angel? Why would we trust that story? Well, because of faith. Logic says, no, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's not how the world works. But faith says that's exactly how things work. Because God is in charge. We're not. This might not be the way the world works, but this is how God works. So even today, we have competing stories. We have the stories of the guards, so to speak, and we have the story of the women. This story that reminds us that the tomb is empty and Jesus is alive and there is new life. This is the story that we hold on to as Christians. because this is the story that we know through faith is what's worth holding on to. Yes, we might hear a lot of fake news and people who try to discount Jesus. Logically, what they say makes sense. But God has given us the gift of faith. And you know what? It's that faith in Jesus, that faith given to us by God, that Holy Spirit working in our lives that changes the world. It changes our lives, and it changes the lives of others through us. There's your 5-minute Bible study for the day. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.